Hi guys,
Hi guys, this video is about working remotely, the top 5 reasons. Many times as we go through our working careers, um, different situations may arise. One of them, of course, recently is the global plant pandemic. I did a video last year, and that really wasn't even on the radar. Of course, this year it is. You know, Working remotely, working from home, whatever you want to call it, has really become a um, hot topic, something everyone's doing, if you will. Um, you know, it, Everyone that can, I should say, everyone that maybe is a technology worker, a who knows what. Even doctors now are working from home. You know, Anybody that basically can access systems, not have to be, you know, like in a retail situation. I can't really think of anybody in a regular client facing, where someone comes in and does a transaction, they have to physically buy something, would be able to work from home. But anybody else that, is a technology worker, a knowledge worker, finance, administration, um, any positions like that are eligible to, if your employer um, will allow it. That's the thing, and that's where the global pandemic has kind of switched the thinking in that regard. It's definitely a lot more people are working from home now, working remotely. Not only from home. I mean, there's a big move where people are able to keep their internet connection, work from an RV, work from maybe a relative's house, a hotel. There's many different scenarios that people are able to make it work, if you will. Um, so you know, one of the other reasons, somebody may be working from home. This kind of related to the number one reason, but the number two would be, if you have a health reason, and maybe it's because you're experiencing something from the pandemic, or maybe in general you can't do a long commute. Maybe just there's certain situations, health wise, that don't allow you to work remotely, or work in the office, I just say, and you can only work remotely. That's you know Another great reason to consider it. Again, more people are doing it now. I remember last year there was already a pretty good sized push, and there was some pushback too, where companies weren't necessarily liking it, because they felt people weren't as productive. And I think end of the day, as long as you hold yourself accountable, come up with a list every day of items that you want to make sure you accomplish. Um, Make sure they're priority, and stick to them. The other part of it, um, you know, number three would be you may need to work remotely because you have to take care of a ailing family member, or maybe have a child at home that needs, a lot of the schools are shut down right now. So, working remotely, especially in uh, end of July 2020, I'm not hearing a lot of schools that are opening. So that's a huge shift too, where people have had to now, instead of again going in the office, maybe they can check on a loved one. They don't want to, they can't take them to school, whoever it may be, that type of thing. They have to now be there. That's another, reason for working remotely. And again, holding yourself accountable to the actual work. Um, you know, I would say setting a space away from the rest of the household, or whatever situation it may be. Maybe you're in an apartment, or maybe you are an RV. Even RVs, They have typically kind of a master bedroom, they call it, although it may be small, but there's usually an area that you can almost make an office out of. And I struggled that with here. I kind of had an open office situation where there was no door, um, and we put a door on it, and that's helped tremendously. So I would say treat it as you're going to the office every day. Treat it as you log in, you see your coworkers, you still acknowledge them as if you're sitting right next to them, or you're seeing them getting a cup of coffee, and try and maintain that communication. That's huge as well. People, I think, have a tendency, just because they work remote, to think they don't, need to still be attentive to others, or reach out to others and communicate with them. That's very beneficial. That makes you feel more connected. And it's even more so important when you are working remotely, just to, let people know, hey, I'm out here doing this. I am actively working. I'm not just mowing the lawn or doing errands. Of course, now it's a little different because so many people are working from home, working remotely. Everybody's basically online. Everybody is working remotely, so I think it's kind of, well, not everybody that can, once again, but if you're in that scenario, you're able to essentially see others online. They're in a similar situation, and my experience is people are more productive, and that's where I was kind of heading with that. As long as you're disciplined and stick to what you need to. The other reason is work location is too far from, your remote base, your home base. That's another reason it forces you to work remotely. The other, reason, it's more secure, especially with everything going on these days. Um, from a physical security standpoint, yeah, maybe once things kind of settle down, but working remotely, you can kind of ensure your own security, and make sure that you're a safe environment first and foremost for you and your family, and then able to work effectively in that environment, rather than kind of looking over your shoulder and worried about your physical environment, and things that may or may not be happening there. So there's several reasons. There's many more. Leave a comment below if you are working remotely now. If you have any suggestions for others. For me, I don't claim to be the know-it-all remote person. Done it for many years. Looking back, I'm thinking 15 to 20 years. Intermittently, I've gone into office jobs too, where it's at times it just it calls for it, but some of these experiences I'm mentioning here are, again, years of experience, years of uh, you know working out of the office, working from the road, working at home. Another thing you can do is let your family members know. It's a big change for them. You're going to be now around every day. Being going on meetings, virtual meetings. But the best thing to do is go ahead and let them know that you are working remotely, and please respect that. And it may take a little while to get there. It's not easy for them either. They're going to all of a sudden see you around, and they're not used to that, and you'll have to kind of ease into it. But they'll, eventually, they'll come around to you being around, and the quietness you need, if you will. And they should come to respect that after all, it is your job. It is your livelihood, not only, I'm sure, for yourself and your family. So, again, it got kind of back to having an office space, even if it's a bedroom. A lot of times you will just have to close the door. people these days are respecting more and more that you may have a dog barking in the background. That's how it is when we're working remotely. Um, you know, there's going to be certain noises. A lot of people are very tolerant of it. I don't. Matter of fact, I've had my dogs bark. I'm surprised they're quiet right now. To be honest, but where they, it's come in. I just say, hey, oh, that's my dogs, and if it's a regular meeting, most people are kind of used to it, and they get a little chuckle out of it, and they may have a little background noise too that it actually comes up in the conversation. So make light of it. Don't. These are all things you don't need to stress on. And again, the reason I mention them, when I first working remotely, I kind of stressed on it when the dog would bark, or maybe a vacuum was ran. Now that's a little different. The vacuum ran, you may have to switch rooms or ask the person to stop vacuuming for now. But you can usually deal with it. It's not that you shouldn't make it a stressful situation. Is what I'm trying to say. Some of the other things you may want to do is have it's not, you don't necessarily always have a bathroom nearby, a restroom to use. Like here, I have to walk across the house, and that's fine. It's there's times I will work from the bedroom, where like I just kind of stated, this area may get too noisy. I realize it. That's where it is good to have a laptop, by the way, just as a side note. But I have to get up and go use the restroom, and that's just how it is. If you're on a meeting, just let people know it's a biological bio break. Everybody knows it. Just as for your office, you have to go. Just be respectful of it. Excuse yourself, and then when you come back in, you can say, if it's a Zoom meeting or Skype, I'm back, and everybody knows that's just how it is. And if you've never worked remotely, if you've never used some of the tools, or you've never had to go to a bathroom break, you don't know, and that's why we're doing this video. But the other part is having some food, drink nearby. Have a coffee cup nearby, just to keep your fluids up, keep your maybe you need to snack occasionally, so maybe you have a small refrigerator there, so you don't have to constantly run to the kitchen, is my point. Because each time you do that, it's it's a distraction, to be honest, and those are the things that start chipping away at the discipline part of being able to work from home. Now, does it have to be a miserable situation where you can never go to the kitchen, or you could never say hi to a family member? No, it doesn't. But just know that at certain times, for a certain amount of time, you should be really focused in on whether you have meetings or projects to do, whatever your daily work life looks like, whatever rhythm that is, and you'll fall into it. That's the thing. I mean, I know early on when I start my day, I have a little bit of time where I can take care of some things around here, because you're working remotely. There should be a few benefits, and you can work those in, but it's pretty much the same time every day. I'll go out and empty the dishwasher, and I know to keep an eye on my work at the same time, but my coworkers know at that time I'll be a little bit intermittent. Early morning bio break after the coffee. Just saying, keeping it real. But it's things like that we all realize, that you become to realize how to handle and work it into your schedule, and and don't be too concerned about letting others know that you have to step away. You have they may see you eating. Just put yourself on mute. It's pretty simple, and most of the technologies these days, I think it's Zoom. It's in the lower left. Matter of fact, I think we'll do a video on how to use Zoom, because that's the main one I hear people using through this pandemic, and I've heard a lot of people are struggle to even how to use it, which it can be challenging at first if you've never used Zoom or Skype or any of them. or Teams is another one. It's a little different to say. Once you're used to it, it's not bad at all. But there's things to consider, like how to invite people, and even before that, the scheduling of the time zones. If you're in multiple global time zones, you have to figure out when to set the meeting, how to check others' calendars if you have that capability, to invite them, and not it go to it wasted essentially. What I mean by that is you send an invite and their time is blocked. Well, that whole transaction was a waste of time. So if you're able to, I know a lot of organizations have the ability where they share calendars and you can see each other's calendars from a meeting perspective, and you can see if that time is blocked or unblocked for them. But we'll get more into that in the Zoom video coming up. So it's things like that to consider. The technology, do you have a good internet connection first and foremost? That's, if you're going to consider to work from home, you can't really do it probably over a satellite connection, which, everybody knows those are still, I really wish they were. It could allow a lot of people to really work out in the middle of nowhere, but they're just not there yet. You probably need at least a fiber connection, cable, that type of thing with pretty high speed, because if you're running video over Zoom and audio, if your internet connection is not stable or high enough bandwidth, it could be an issue. You may have to shut off video, things like that. We'll get more into that later. Keep an eye out for that video. Again, if you have a comment, please leave it below. If anything you can think of that I'm missing, I'm sure I'm missing things that you may experience in your everyday working remotely life. Love to hear them, and we can talk about it as well. Well, this video is getting pretty long. Again, just wanted to put it out there. Maybe it will help someone, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Hi guys, this is